Now in marriage, what are our low moments? I think juggling between work, then coming home to duties, and the expectation that you would do everything perfectly, like you would function 100% at your workplace, and at 100% when you get home, everything is clean, you've cooked, you've balanced all your diets, you've gone to the market, you know, all clothes are cleaned and ironed. It didn't work that way. So there was that part of adjustment and realizing that I need help. I also need help. I think being raised as a firstborn, you feel like you need to do everything, you know. But it reached a point where I feel sitaweza. I won't. I'll just request for help. And when I told Jacob about it, he was willing for us to adjust a few things in the house. You don't necessarily have to do all this on this day. And I think I appreciated that he wasn't so firm on, you have to do this way. It was just what worked for me, yes, so that I wouldn't strain. So I can say that part of that expectation of mine, well, it was kind of a low.
Which I think is also the same with me, because when I married, I was trying to become a perfect husband. You know, the way you want to, you are pushing yourself to be the perfect husband. You want to, you have, I was very intentional with doing a wedding for her. I think I was telling her I had saved the money for Horatio long before I met her, because I knew when I meet a good girl, I want to do a good wedding for her. So then here you come, you are married, you are pushing yourself to be the perfect husband. But that time you are not telling each other. She's pushing herself to be the perfect wife, you the perfect husband. By the end of the day, you realize you can't do everything within a month. You can't build her a good house within a month. You can spend 24 hours every day together.
Yeah, together,
so, on call. So that that became a journey. And I think we have had over time to make adjustments to know what is working for us. And then me transitioning from being single to a husband. That was a journey by itself. All this time I was staying alone, so I was used to, you can wear a trouser 3-4 days. You can put your socks wherever you want. After all, you are alone. You can put your cup after taking tea, wherever you are, you just put it hapo chini. And then here you are, and now someone is telling you that you can't recycle a shirt. Why? So that transition for me was a journey. The transition of food,
good.
Another journey. Because as a single person, you're always taking dinner, bread and soda. And so the house has 4 liters of soda and 2 loaves of bread every day. Then here you are, you have to take breakfast, lunch, a dinner, and if you don't take, it's an issue. And I didn't know how much it means for me to eat her food. So she comes from work, she cooks so well, but when I come home, my default setting is soda and bread within 5 minutes. And here you are now, you have to eat every day. So that transition was a journey. Food for me, I think when even I went home, my mom told her that in Kikuyu it sounds even funnier, worse. Uyu ukiwezana na chakula nitajua wewe ni bibi mzuri. Because I was pro food or against food? Against food. Yeah.
We love being open with each other. So if there's something I feel we are not understanding, atupatani, I would rather bring it to the table. It's something I've learned over time because I'm an introvert and he's an extrovert. So for me, I would keep everything to myself, then build, you know. But when I came now to marriage, I had to learn how to express myself. If I'm not okay with something, I'll just tell him. And that's where I think he mentioned about friendship comes in. I'm not afraid to say, umenikwaza. Maybe you should have said this way. It wouldn't have hurt me, you see. So I'm learning also how to deal with misunderstandings through effective communication. practicing active listening even when I'm angry, so that it's not only about how I felt or how I saw it, but I also listen to his side of the story and his perspective. Then I think also respect, even in times of misunderstanding. I remember that he's my husband. I need to respect him, even when I'm angry, watching my words. Yeah, there are times you just have to wait. Then you unazikusanya vizuri, then now you bring it out, because you remember this will pass and you'll be left with him. If you've hurt him, that word, you can't take it back. Yeah, so we are very mindful about words and how we handle the misunderstandings. Then we ensure that they remain within us, yeah, so that we don't, yeah, expose ourselves.
And you see, misunderstandings, they come and go. And often it's caused by maybe even miscommunication. They come and go, but the two of you remain. Even the Bible says, my people perish because of lack of knowledge. So one thing that we pursued from the onset is walking along with many couples. After all, we had come from being single, and then here we are. We can't pretend that we had experience. So we walked, before we did the wedding, we had gone to visit very many couples. And so in those visits, there is a lot that we learned. One of them being the one Esther is saying, communication. One of the ways that we have dealt with misunderstandings is communication. Esther was very reserved, quiet, reserved. Something happens, she's a firstborn, she doesn't want to tell the others, so she keeps it to herself. And then she comes to me, and she even tends to do the same. So you'll come home, do something, she keeps quiet. By the time you realize, and like I said, she's very detailed. She will remind you something you did last week when you were wearing a blue shirt and a black trouser and red socks. So she has kept those details until we learned about communication. When it has happened, let's sort it there and there. So that way it has made our journey kind of easier, a lot of communication. So yeah, I think communication, and again praying. There are some misunderstandings that if you don't take care, can separate you. So just praying God to guide you, and so that you can know what to do as you. So as you, I mean as a wife, what do you do? As a husband, when she has done something, what do you do? So yes, praying a lot for God to help you as an individual, know how to handle the other person.
We were very intentional with our honeymoon, but we knew we would work within our budget. What we would have is what we would spend. We were clear on not beginning our marriage on debts. So we agreed whatever we'll be having at the end of the day is what we will spend. Although we did that sometime before the wedding, way before the wedding, and we said we didn't want also to be spendthrifts. I know it's a time of merry and just splendor, but we also wanted to be good stewards also through the honeymoon. So we agreed on where we would spend our honeymoon together. Then, yeah, I think it was good that we didn't stretch ourselves, yeah? So we were good to begin life even after the honeymoon, remembering there's still something after the honeymoon, yes.
And you see, there is a couple that was here that said something that really touched me. I think it was Dominic and or something. So they said, the wedding process is a time that starts low and it keeps going higher and higher. That means you start when the committee is pushing you, and then there you are, you have done a Aurora show which is beautiful, and then a wedding which is good, and then a very good honeymoon, and then you come back to open a house that is full of gifts given during the wedding. And then after that you start marriage. So you don't want to go through that journey with debts, because I've seen, and during the visits that we did to couples, we found couples that had gotten or started marriage with debts. So we were very keen on not starting on debts. So I kind of feel we did a very good honeymoon, but we didn't do an extravagant one. Maybe we should.
No, we should. We are.
Yeah, but we had a good honeymoon. We traveled and we had a good time.
Yeah, and then we planned that during the honeymoon, we list down maybe anyone we felt who had hurt us in the wedding process, or maybe it's a friend who you expected to come through but they were not able to, and you held that, or it was a word that was spoken to us. So we took that time to heal. Yeah, we just let go. That season has passed. They had their reasons, so just forgive, forget, and we move on. So
because that time people, if you carry people, it becomes very hard. So we had made a decision, and you had been advised when you go for honeymoon, list everything that didn't work for you, and maybe that's something couples should do. What didn't you like? What did you get angry at? Is there a person that you have bitterness? List all of them, and then sit down and say, like forgive them and pray about it, and God to help you heal over them, so that you don't come back carrying luggages.
Yeah.
Because people talk. Some people, your closest friends, they post something on Facebook about you, and you are wondering, and then she would come to visit. A lot of things happen during that season. So that's something I think couples, we always advise them to do. Take time during honeymoon. As much as you're having fun, you forgive and leave luggages out of your heart.
What I would tell young people regarding marriage, those who are aspiring to get married, they have this desire right from when they were kids to wear a white gown, walk down the aisle, that marriage works. It's God ordained, so marriage is beautiful and it is good. I know around us are maybe a lot of perceptions, maybe some negativity from some that have not worked or the like. But I still stand to say that marriage is good. It is blessed of the Lord. And the fact that it is God ordained, we can trust Him to guide us through that journey. God is interested with our love life in as much as He's interested in our academics. The same way He's interested with how I feel about myself. He's interested about my love life. So my advice would be, trust in the Lord even in your love life. Yeah, trust Him. He knows what's best for you. He does everything in His own time. He makes things beautiful in His own time. But keep pursuing God. Keep pursuing God. Just let your heart beat for God. Desire to do His will. He will align your steps with where He wants you to be at the exact time. So I would encourage them. Anyone who feels that they've been hurt, we've also gone through hurt, and God has healed us and allowed us to enjoy the institution of marriage. So God heals, God restores, and God leads, even in marriages. Yes.
Yeah, so regarding the same, one of the main motivations after we did the wedding, I kept telling my wife that there is one interview that I want us to go and do because it inspired me. So, and the only love maybe just looks like an interview, but there are so many lives that it transforms, me being one of them. You know, we come from a society that has a moral fabric that dictates that it's very hard to find a good person. And so you settle for what you have. And you see, for guys, guys make a decision when to marry, and then they make a decision to marry, and then they go look for a wife. It is not the vice versa. You make a decision, now I'm ready, I feel like I can settle, I have, organized myself, and then now you get a wife. Not the vice versa. So, but the society has showed us another side that, especially with the onset of programs like the loyalty tests, where out of 100 couples, only one maybe is not cheating. So by the end of the day, you have a perception that enyewe vitu ni ngumu. So you settle for whatever you have. But in deep down, you always know whether it's the right person or the wrong person. Like I said when I was mentioning, you always know whether it's the right person. And when you meet them, you know, this is the person that I have been looking for. And God has a way of bringing people together. So the best thing that someone can do is keep trusting God and keep doing what you do at your best. So if maybe you are maybe you are an accountant, keep being the best accountant and keep trusting God, and God will somehow make the two of you meet. Esther usually tells me, if we had gone for that interview, for the first date, and I had shown her interest before, she would never have come for the date, because after all she was dating. So hata hiyo date angekuja, but then God had to bring two people who are in tech and use that career to bring us together so that a family can start. So all I can advise, just like I heard from other couples and I did it, keep doing the best you do, or keep doing the best you can at what you do if you are single, and keep trusting God, and God will just somehow bring someone for you.
A friend told us that we have purpose. Each one of us was created with a purpose to fulfill. And it's not only that the marriage is not really the end of everything. You may be married, but there was that one God-ordained purpose that you were created for. And being in the marriage should propel you also, that now you have someone who believes in you, who loves you, who corrects you in love, to walk in that purpose. So where I see us is both of us pursuing what God has called us to be, with the greatest support being each other. That if if he tells me where God has called him to, I'll be there. Within those 5 or 10 years to come, I will be able to discern also where God is leading us, and especially through him, and support him. So I look forward to a time where we are just walking in purpose as a family. If it means in ministry, if it's in career, mentoring others, if it means, what can I even say? Just pursuing God. I just believe that there's that purpose that God also brought us together, and I just can't wait to see what God unveils for the time to come. Yeah.
And over and above purpose, for me, for years to come, I would want to have a marriage that we love God, and that a family that is based on the principles of God, and then a family that we are the best versions of us. I knew I wanted a girl like her, and God gave me exactly what I wanted. And a long time ago, someone told me that if the kind of a person you are looking for, write that list down and then pray for each of them. And usually God will give you exactly that. So I wrote all the things. The way you pray for a tall, everything that I wrote, even the most quote-unquote weird or fake. Simplest. I wrote all of them down, and then you keep praying for them. Someone told me that when I was, and then that person also challenged me. And he gave me a story. For him, what he did is, he took a ring, a proposal ring like this one. I'll tell you about our proposal story. So a proposal ring like this one, she kept it in the vehicle at a certain lock. And then said, any lady that will ever open this is the lady I'll marry. And every time he kept carrying people in the vehicle, and nobody noticed there was a ring, and it's a true story. And then actually, the guy is, I think, 50 years or so. So one day, a lady, she's carrying a friend, who is carrying, comes into the vehicle and opens the lock. I think just in a joking way, he takes the key and then he's testing where the key belongs to, and then akafungua hiyo lock and saw the ring. And that's how he told me 1 week after that he had already proposed using that ring. And today I think they are 32 years married. They are in their late 50s, 32 years. So me, I also did the same. I told God, these are the things I want. And then I said, if this guy worked with a ring, this is what I'll do. Any lady that will go for dinner or for a date and she prays for the food first is the lady I'll marry. I told you that story. Yeah. So, and I kept it as a secret. Yeah. Yes. So I said, these are the things, God, I want, but then this is the challenge. any date, I'll keep going for dates, but the first person who will pray for a meal is the person that I'll marry. So we kept going. I see a good person, we talk, and then we meet over coffee. And then someone comes for a date. And then the first thing, even before the waiter places the food and they have eaten, and I know, bado saina ijakam. And then we went for a date. It's funny just how when we sat down, the first thing she told me, let's pray for the food. And I knew I had met the kind of, and then even before that, I had already seen everything that I had prayed for. I had already seen there. But then, you know, God has to keep his word. If he keeps promises, he has to keep a promise. So if you agree with him, like, if you know the way you tell God, if you give me a car, I will give maybe something in church. God makes sure he gives you that car, and then to see also whether you are faithful. So if he keeps promises, that's a challenge I gave myself. So I put that on the table and said, God, if you do this, if you bring someone who will pray for the food first, not me to propose, her first, that's the person I'll marry. And here we are, married happily.
Praying for food.
Praying for food. I always knew I wanted to do a special proposal to her. And so what I did is, I had a trip that had been cancelled to go abroad, but then she didn't know. So I come at, she thinks I'm going, and then we go all the way even to the airport. We pack the bags, we met in town, and then we went, she took me to the airport, and because I still had the ticket, but the event had been cancelled. Which country was I going to?
Was it Malawi? Malawi was your stopover.
Yes, so I can't remember. So Malawi was, no, Zambia was the stopover.
Oh yeah, Zambia.
Yes, and then no, it was the UK, then through Zambia. So we went, I still had the ticket, so I easily got through the boarding area. And then I left her and told her I have left. She was organizing a birthday party for her sister. And so I, behind her back, called all her friends and all my friends to the same event, but they were hiding. And then it was just beside the swimming pool. So they were hiding in the changing rooms. And so what we did, once she left the airport, I boarded another taxi and went to the same event, but the person who was carrying her had to delay so that my taxi can overtake, and then I arrive at the event and plan things. So she comes with the sisters, they are organizing a party, and then as they are having good time with the birthday, they were giving each other gifts. So this is the plan. This was the plan. When she gives when they are giving each other a gift, they blindfold each other, and then you give someone a gift. So she did the same to the sisters, blindfold, then give him a gift, maybe a phone, a watch, and then it became her turn. So the plan was, when she is blindfolded, I go on my knees right in front of her, holding a banner written, I am the gift, and all her friends will have come from the rooms and surrounded her, some holding the Will You Marry Me right opposite the swimming pool. And I tell you, that went as per planned. She was blindfolded, everybody, it was like 40, 50 people. Everybody arranged themselves so well. Silently, nobody was pushing chairs. Some opposite the swimming pool, some around her. And then that's how the proposal went. And it was my perfect plan and my perfect proposal. I had to push myself to the limits. Because God gives you a wonderful person, then you have to do wonderful things. How was it for you?
It was awesome. It's like I planned my own proposal.
Exactly, she planned her own proposal.
Yeah, because I was arranging people, how they'll come, my sisters, the cake. Then I blindfold them to give them their gift, and they have to guess what is in there. So when it was my turn, I felt nervous. All of a sudden, everything became, just felt nervous, a chill down my spine. Then, yeah, and there he was on his knees.
And actually, when she was organizing that trip, before that, I think a month before that, I had been to Zambia. So I sent her previous photos of me in Zambia at the airport. So she's busy telling her friends he has already arrived in Zambia, he's boarding the next plane to Europe, and so to Europe. So busy showing her friends amefika, and ni kwenda anaenda, he's okay, and then friends wanamuuliza how is Jack ako sawa, unfortunately nitammiss, may Jack have a good time. Kumbe as she's talking like that, I'm just kneeling beside her, and that's how it went.
It was nice.
Beautiful.
Very, very nice.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So honey, I want to thank you for loving me, for allowing me to be myself. I think you've, over the eight months and a few weeks that we've been married, you've brought out the best in me. You've pushed me to my limits. You've encouraged me to pursue new goals, new limits, and may the Lord bless you so much for that. I'm grateful that God gave me a teachable man, that the Holy Spirit can lead and correct, and how you've loved me, even with my flaws and my weaknesses. For that I am grateful. And I pray that the Lord will bless you and increase you, expand your territories, give you favor before people and even himself. And yeah, I can't wait to see what God has for us in our marriage. I love you.
Beautiful words. I love you too. God brought us together in an amazing way. He has given us a wonderful journey together from the time we were friends, and coming this far, you've been the most amazing friend God would have given me. You've taken good care of me, you've loved me, you've challenged me. You know, there were goals I never thought I would achieve. Now I have achieved them. There are things that I never knew I would do. Now I can comfortably do them. You've been that support that I ever wanted. You've been the love that God says we love each other. You've respected me, and it has made my journey of loving you back easy. So today I just want to let you know that I love you and that you are an amazing wife, and everything you do as a wife, I appreciate it. It's I know being a wife is work, but I love you, and I see every effort you put in becoming a wonderful wife, and I appreciate it, and I love you.
I love you too.